name is Glynn. First of all, I'm a dad. I'm a physician. And I'm going to speak to you this afternoon about something quite dear to my heart. Something I see a lot in my business as a physician. Something I see a lot of suffering associated with. And a lot of misconceptions, a lot of myths. And that's addiction. And there's no one definition of addiction that everyone agrees to. But for me, what makes sense for me, someone once said that addiction is any substance or process that I have no control over, impulses I have no control over, that takes over my whole life, and that eventually I feel life is not possible without it. It made sense to me. I could slot lots of things in there. I could slot gambling as the process. I could slot cocaine there as the drug, or nicotine, or alcohol, or heroin. Another sign of addiction is that you continue with it even though it's obvious to everyone around you and eventually to yourself that it's damaging. Damaging to your health, damaging to relationships, damaging socially, damaging in your career, and you persist in it. That's what an addiction looks like. I think we're wired to be rewarded. I think we're wired to receive pleasure, and for things that are good for us, we get a feeling of reward. Why else would we have chemicals in our body called endorphins, which are related to morphine, and they match with receptors in our brain that fit perfectly like a lock and a key. A drug that's out there, but it's a drug that's inside us as well, it's manufactured inside us. Why do we have it? It's the way we're wired. We're wired to have reward and to experience pleasure. So what does one do with that? When you toss that away, you quit, you've got to replace that with something else. For me, what has worked is to replace that with something like cycling. And cycling and running has been wonderful for me. And how does that work? Well, in my own experience, there's been many times in my life that I didn't feel like going for a run or going for a cycle. Many times. But I can't recall once that I regretted doing it. Not once. Because you're just there. You're present. You'll be present with yourself. You'll be present with your children. In fact, Mark Twain said, there's nothing more annoying than a neighbor that's a constant good example. And my challenge to myself and to each one of us is, let's be that good example to our kids.